Welcome to Celeb Vibes. The Kardashians are being accused of attempting to gaslight their fans. Please guys, before we continue, I would appreciate if you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our amazing videos about your favorite celebrities. After Kim's comments about their upbringing contradicted everything Kris Jenner revealed in her memoir, Kim solemnly defined having to look at Kris, after which accomplice Caitlyn Jenner promote their residence due to the fact they couldn't come up with the money for it. However, Kris's 2011 memoir information, a completely exceptional experience. If you've been looking the Kardashians on Hulu, you'll recognize that Kim these days sparked backlash after her uncooked response to the now notorious variety mess turned into revealed. Kim confronted thousands of grievances in March after providing what she defined because the fine recommendation for ladies in business. "Get your fucking ass up and paintings," she stated. "It looks as if no person desires to paintings those days. You must surround yourself with humans that want paintings." Given that Kim turned into born right into a lifestyles of huge wealth and privilege, lovers have been quite outraged that she'd sternly lectured the general public on what it takes to achieve success without acknowledging any of the elements which have helped her alongside the way. She in brief addressed a discourse throughout and look on Good Morning America days after the Variety interview turned into released 11, though she insisted that the quote were taken out of context. Months later, lovers have been eventually given a at the back of the scenes examine how Kim handled all of the backlash in actual time, way to her own circle of relatives Hulu Truth Collection. However, it wasn't pretty what humans had was hoping for. When explaining herself, Kim admitted she turned into mortified via way of means of all of the poor remarks earlier than quite plenty, doubling down on the whole lot she'd first of all stated. Only this time, she in brief recounted her privilege, too. While out at lunch together along with her sisters Khloe and Kendall, Kim cautioned that humans truly didn't recognize the authentic tale at the back of their upbringing, insinuating that their own circle of relatives were via a few form of struggle. "Yeah, we grew up privileged, however humans don't recognize the tale of Caitlyn Jenner and mom having to promote their residence in Hidden Hills due to the fact they couldn't come up with the money for it and that they needed to pass to an apartment," she stated with a solemn appearance on her face. Caitlyn is the ex-accomplice in their mom, Kris Jenner. Mom clearly began out her profession and being profitable at 50, so developing up and seeing her hustle and seeing her stand up each day with some of these children, 6 of hers, that she needed to take care of. "I noticed her paintings her ass off and parented out," she added. Naturally, lovers have been left questioning precisely what Kim turned into speak approximately. But way to Kris spilling all of the information about the Kardashians' upbringing in her 2011 memoir, Kris Jenner. And all things Kardashian, we have got already were given the inner scoop. For starters, it's no mystery that, as Kim herself says, the Kardashians grew up privileged. Kris married the overdue Robert Kardashian Sr., who turned into a really rich attorney while she turned into simply 22, and the couple lived a lavish lifestyle with highly priced vehicles, a tennis court, and sufficient assist with the children and residents to permit Kris to experience leisurely lunches with pals. Kim announcing that Kris began out her profession and being profitable at 50, cautioned that the 66-year vintage turned into without plenty cash till then, that is a ways from authentic. While her divorce from Robert in 1991 affected her financially, she went on to satisfy and construct a couple of agencies with Caitlyn Jenner, much less than 6 months later. And the memoir without a doubt information severe luxurious homes that the own circle of relatives lived in lengthy earlier than Kris became 50, indicating simply how privileged they have been and nevertheless are. Kim additionally stated that Kris and Caitlyn couldn't come up with the money for to stay with inside the Hidden Hills and, therefore, needed to promote their residence and pass to an apartment. Kris's memoir paints a barely exceptional picture, however. Kris first describes transferring from Beverly Hills to Hidden Hills in 1996, simply after the start of Kendall Jenner. Kris writes that traveling Hidden Hills for the primary time turned into like getting into every other world, with lovely houses and big parcels of belongings. Kris and Caitlyn bought a 9,000 square foot residence with 6 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, which she describes as a monstrosity way to its pink carpet and pool, with a terrible brick trim. However, The pair noticed the residences of undertaking and poured their love into remodeling each inch, such as the wood fence, which she decorated with 300 white iceberg rose bushes. But after readorning each unmarried room, Kris and Caitlyn determined they without a doubt had an excessive amount of space. "We had some of these rooms we didn't use," she writes. Even Alvin, though own circle of relatives and pals, have been nevertheless coming over each nighttime, and I turned into nevertheless having huge pasta dinners with salads and wine and big board sport events with Monopoly and categories. The fact turned into that we have been simplest the usage of a half of the residence. Given that Caitlyn were loss of life to transport towards her valuable Sherwood Country Club in Thousand Oaks, the pair determined to shop for a plot of land and construct a own circle of relatives domestic there. But Kris notes that she, Caitlyn, and the children moved right into a townhome bought at a brilliant fee, whilst their real domestic turned into being built. "We moved to Sherwood to stay with inside the townhome whilst constructing our new residence," Kris writes, including that her pals had advised her. "If you're going to construct a residence at Sherwood, you then definitely additionally want a townhome if you have guests, so that it will live close to the golfing course, with inside the gates." So we left our 9,000 square foot dream residence with inside the Hidden Hills for a 4,000 square foot city residence in Sherwood, which supposed that a half of our stuff ended up in storage, Kris writes. But given Kris's description of the townhouse, which turned into simplest brief anyways, it rarely regarded like a struggle. "To pressure via the gates of Sherwood is like getting into heaven," she writes. "It's decadent, it's gorgeous. When I drove via the one's gates, I may want to experience the experience of extravagance and strength envelop me." When we moved in, Tiger Woods turned into website hosting his annual golfing event there. And as though that doesn't scream privilege loud sufficient, Kris later well-known shows that she and the own circle of relatives have been capable of up and depart as quickly as they didn't fancy the Sherwood primarily based totally lifestyle anymore. "All I may want to consider turned into getting again to my vintage first-rate lifestyles in Hidden Hills. I had made a multitude of our environment. My children had left all in their pals at the back of and have been writing an hour every day simply to get to and from school," she writes. "I placed our Sherwood Country Club townhome available in the marketplace and bought it as rapid as possible," Kris says, including that they ended up transferring to a belongings in Calabasas that she defined as the best residence at the best time. Kris even stated that she felt she turned into failing her youngest daughters, Kendall and Kylie, due to the fact they weren't pretty glad with simply dwelling with inside the Hidden Hills once more and in fact desired to transport again to the very road that they'd first lived on. "Ever in view that we had moved from our first residence in Hidden Hills, Kendall and Kylie begged me to get their vintage residence again. They desired to stay again on that road," Kris writes. "I felt like I turned into failing them due to the fact they weren't dwelling wherein they desired to stay. She finally discovered a larger residence again on that equal road and bought that too. This have become the well-known residence with the black and white floors featured in Keeping Up with the Kardashians from 2009 onward." Elsewhere in her memoir, Kris well-known shows that as numerous Twitter customers talked about Kim turned into given a brand new automobile as quickly as she were given her driver's license, as did her sisters, Kourtney and Khloe. And because the e-book turned into posted over a decade ago, we manifestly recognize that matters ended up being all of the equal for Kendall and Kylie, each of whom have been additionally proficient luxurious vehicles after they became 16. They have been additionally thrown ostentatious Candy 16 celebrations, which have been charted on KUWTK. Of course, the revelations in Kris's e-book quite plenty immediately contradict what Kim had cautioned approximately her upbringing in the Kardashians, which infuriated numerous lovers online. Taking to Reddit, visitors of the Kardashians mentioned the stark distinction in what Kim's remarks had implied and the truth of the Kardashians' upbringings. "I needed to snicker while Kim, Khloe and Kendall have been at lunch attempting to mention they weren't born into privilege due to the fact Kris and Caitlyn needed to promote their residence in Hidden Hills and pass into an apartment," one individual wrote. According to Kris's book, that apartment turned into without a doubt a 2,400 sq ft townhouse close to Caitlyn's golfing club and that they didn't live there very lengthy earlier than they sold every other residence in Calabasas, they went on. Another Reddit consumer echoed. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any update about your favorite celebrity.